Hi, everybody. My name's John.
Hi, John.
And I am a YouTuber. It's been 20 days since I've last posted to YouTube. And I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling like I can do another 20 days with your support. Later tonight, when the shakes come, I may post this video to YouTube, but I'll try not to. That's right. It's been a little while since I've posted to YouTube. Sorry. Stuff happens. But I figured I'd ease back into it. We're going to do kind of not a lazy video. Of course not. So I was scrolling through the old book face on my phone, and I saw something pretty interesting. It was a picture of a bunch of different items, and it said, if you're stranded on a deserted island and you could only pick 4 of these items, which 4 would you pick? Well, the question in and of itself does not provide enough information or data to make a well-informed decision. For example, what kind of island are we stranded on? Is it an island, are we on an old whaling camp off the coast of Antarctica? Is this an island up in the frozen Canadian tundra? Is this a tropical island near the equator somewhere? We don't know. The question does not provide you, but for the sake of today's video, we're going to assume that we are on the same island that the character Tom Hanks played in the movie Castaway was stranded on. You remember Castaway? When he's cast away on that deserted island with a volleyball named Wilson. If you haven't seen that movie, you should definitely check it out. It's well worth a watch. So let's go over some of the items on this list. Now, for the sake of editing and to try to make the items visible to you, I'm only able to show like the top half of the list and then the bottom half, but I'll do the best I can and we'll go over all the items. So let's just go over them all real quick. We got a tarp, we've got some sunscreen, and me being a redhead, or at least before I went gray, I was a redhead. I suffer from gingivitis, so sunscreen is important, but is it that important? Toilet paper. There is looks like a cast iron pot, an iPod. We've got hiking boots, a handsaw, a flare gun, an inflatable raft, a flashlight. Down on the bottom half of our list, we've got insect repellent, a hammock, compass, a mirror, vitamins, a water purifier, a fishing rod, a rope, a hunting rifle. There's 5 ounces of the devil's lettuce. Maybe you don't think any of these items could help you survive and you just want to partake and enjoy your last couple days. Not for me. We got a first aid kit. There's a nice little dome tent, a knife, matches, and a Wilson volleyball. So, you can only pick 4 of these items. Which ones would I pick? That's what we'll talk about. But I want to know below in the comments, which ones would you pick and why? So my first instinct, you've got your 4 basic principles of survival. You've got shelter, fire, water, food. So my first instinct, of course, I'm going to take the pot. I could not only collect water with it, but I could boil water with it. I could cook things in it if I'm lucky enough to come across some grub. My next immediate inclination was I'm going to take the knife, and then the matches and the tent. So for me, my first immediate knee-jerk reaction was the cooking pot, the knife, the matches, and the tent. Then you got to remember you're on an island, out in the middle of the ocean. That water purifier will not purify salt water. Now, if you found a little freshwater pond or a stream or something, it could purify that water, but it will not desalinate water. So, to me, the water purifier, I could make the water safe to drink if I boil it, and if I have that cast iron pot, I can certainly boil it if I have fire. Now the matches, I could make a friction fire or a hand drill or a bow drill fire. If I didn't take the matches, I could pick something else. Same as the tent. The tent takes care of my shelter needs, and it would be nice to have a good tent to keep you dry, a place to keep your gear dry, maybe even some of your fire making materials, but you could make a shelter. So I'm thinking, for me, I'm still keeping the cooking pot, and I'm still going to keep the knife. But what else is on there? The first thing that caught my eye was the fishing rod. Now I know you could make a cane pole out of some bamboo or something like that, but it's that fishing line, that monofilament line, that fishing rod is going to provide me. I cannot replicate that. I mean, sure, you could find cordage, you can make cordage. We're not going to assume anything's going to wash up on shore here, but that monofilament fishing line and a good fishing rod, that would be something I would be willing to say, instead of the tent, I'll make my own shelter, give me that fishing rod. So now, for me, my choices are the cooking pot, the fishing rod, the knife, and the matches. Now, the matches, that's the one because the cooking pot and the knife to me are kind of like 100% I'm taking those two things. The matches, sure, I could make a fire through friction. But what if something goes wrong? What if everything's wet always and you can't? Is fire that important that I would not be willing to gamble against not getting it? Would I take the matches, even though I could possibly start a fire through other means, and in exchange I could take the hunting rifle, which has a scope on it. It might help me spot a ship out there in the ocean. Maybe I could use the scope to start a fire with the sun, with the lenses on the scope. Same thing with, the mirror. I could use that to signal. Each of these items are very useful. But I think to me, fire is that important to where I'm not going to risk it. Now, up at the top of the list, there is a flare gun, and it certainly does have a use as far as signaling, and you could certainly start a fire with it. So maybe. So I'm back to the matches, the knife, the cast iron cooking pot, and the fishing rod. We're going to assume that the rod comes with string and hooks, a few hooks, okay? Now, if it didn't come with hooks, I mean, really, is it going to be that useful? You could maybe fashion a hook. There's ways that you can take the tab off of a aluminum can and make a hook. I've never tried that, but maybe you could make a hook out of some old bone. Obviously, the ancient people did it. So anything they could do, we could try to copy without practicing those skills and without having a really vast knowledge of those skills. It's not something you're going to want to try to do, but in a pinch, you could try. So, but for today's exercise, we're going to assume that fishing rod comes with string and a couple hooks. But if I was not going to take that fishing rod, my next item, so we'll call this my fifth item, it'd be a tough one between the tent and the tarp. Now, obviously, the tent's going to make a better shelter. You can make a shelter out of the tarp, but you could also do other things with the tarp. You could collect rainwater. If we're on that island Tom Hanks was on, it's going to rain a lot, and rain is obviously drinkable water. And with that tarp, and we have a container, that pot, we could gather water that's ready to drink every time it rained. Another interesting item on this list to me would be the inflatable raft. Obviously, if you're on a deserted island, maybe at some point you're going to want to get off the island. Or maybe there's a landmass nearby that could provide you with better opportunities to collect water, food, shelter, things like that. So the raft is interesting, but it's not going to be in my top 4. Again, it's along the lines of the tent. It'd be nice to have a tent, but I would give up that slot on my 4 items to put another item in there in its place. I would have taken the devil's lettuce. Sugar Wolf, what are you doing here? Well, I heard you were making a new video for the YouTubes. I figured I'd stop by to make sure you got it done, since you just can't seem to finish much of anything lately. Well, geez, Sugar Wolf, I appreciate you stopping by to help, but man, lay off a little bit, dude. I mean, how hard could it be? Like and subscribe, like and subscribe. That's all you YouTubers say and do. Make sure you leave a comment, like and subscribe. Bleh. Well, Sugar Wolf, there's a lot more to it than that, and you should know better. I mean, after all, there's editing. You got to upload the video. You got to make sure all the links are connected. You got to do the description, the thumbnail, the title. Bleh. And really, after all, there, Sugar Wolf, how many subscribers do you have? I mean, we're up to 7,450. Oh, big deal. 7,450. Have you ever even heard of Corporal's Corner? That dude's got like 1 million subscribers. Well, as a matter of fact there, Sugar Wolf, I have heard of Corporal's Corner, and I'm a big fan of his videos. Well, I'm good friends with Corporal Sean Kelly, and I'm going to have him come here and teach you a lesson, lest you start shaping up. Well, dang, Sugar Wolf, it's got to be like that? I thought we were bros. Anyway, why don't you hit the road, Sugar Wolf? I think you've been dipping into Grandpa's cough syrup a little too heavily today, so yeah, why don't you go on and get out of here? Anyway, this guy. Chelsea and Kevin. Chelsea, I hope you got your patches. Kevin, yours went out in the mail today. If you're wondering what I'm talking about the 2-inch by 3-inch Olive Drab Alliance morale patch. It's Velcro backed, made in the USA. You can check the link below to find out how to get yourself one, or go to olivedraballiance.com. Now, with that said, I've probably had maybe 40 people order patches, and I've had 2 problems that I'm aware of. It was Chelsea and Kevin, and I'm really hoping those get resolved. I'm certainly not here to take advantage of or rip anybody off. With that said, when they're gone, they're gone. They are in limited supply, so if you order one, I'll probably check my emails like once a week and then do all the orders at once. So allow like a week plus 3 or 4 days before you get them. I'll try to do better with checking my email. I think that was with Chelsea. I know it was, I didn't send it out right away, but then she still said she never got it, so I sent another one. Chelsea, if you get a whole bunch of patches, feel free to keep them. Do whatever you want. They're yours, no problem. Kevin, you too. If your other one shows up and then this other one comes behind it, hey, those are yours. Enjoy them. Now, some days, the idea of being stranded on a deserted island, that doesn't sound too bad, does it? Especially on a Monday morning when you're driving into work. But in all actuality, it's got to be like torture. You read some of the old books, even just watching some of the movies, or reading accounts of people who've actually been stranded on deserted islands, or even watching that show Alive on History Channel. They send these survival experts out in the woods, and they see who could survive the longest. It usually just turns into a starvation game. But as good as being stranded on a deserted island may seem sometimes, I'm sure it's no picnic. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure, even if you subscribed in the past, you don't want to be unsubscribed. Go ahead and check and make sure you're subscribed. Other than that, I'll see you all down the trail somewhere. Until then, have a great day.